Joining us in the studio this morning is Salma, Ravat from One Roof and Karen Rooms from Leicester Cathedral, who work in partnership with One Roof to provide accommodation. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning.
Morning. Salma, can we start with you? It's quite an unusual step for you to directly criticise the local authority, isn't it?
It is, very much so. I mean, where we can, we'll work in partnership, but because repeatedly they've denied the rough sleeper figures as being as high as they are, we felt that now was the time to challenge that.
Where do you think the council's, I suppose, underperforming then at the moment?
Well, we don't have enough accommodation for rough sleepers in the city. The City Council have what they call the severe weather beds, and that's only 10 beds. Now, One Roof Leicester is also providing 10 winter beds this year, but we know that there are still at least 15 people out there, so there isn't enough provision. And as it gets very cold, the weather like last night, it's really damp, you're putting people's lives at risk. So, we need to step up and do more to help the most vulnerable in our society.
Why do you suppose your numbers differ so greatly from the City Council's estimate?
Well, these are our figures. These are actually the figures from the government. These were released nationally 2 weeks ago, and every council in the country has to do an annual count. So this count was done in November and the figures were published. So these are verified numbers by the Department of Communities and Local Government. So they're accurate, they've been verified. So these aren't numbers that we've just sort of plucked out from the air.
You're aware of the pressure the City Council's under in terms of their resources and budgets. They're doing, I suppose, what they can. We'll hear from them in full after 8 o'clock this morning. Are they, I suppose, underperforming in terms of their responsibilities, in your opinion?
I think the issue really is you've got to be honest about the scale of the problem, because if you're honest about the scale of the problem, then you can do something about it. If you're in denial and you keep saying over and over again that actually there's only 16 people on the street, you're never going to then have the provision. The other obvious issue is that the City Council don't refer to voluntary and charitable organisations like ours that aren't commissioned by them. Now, if they did, together we could actually look at the problem, sit down, look at hopefully creative solutions to how we can tackle rough sleeping in the city and hopefully get more people off our streets. But if they don't refer to us, if they don't work with us, you can't do that.
You're effectively accusing them of burying their head in the sand on the issue then, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah, you could say that.
Karen Rooms from Leicester Cathedral, you work in partnership with One Roof. Is this a situation that concerns you? And if so, why?
Well, it does concern us, and we've joined with other faith groups to put accommodation together over the winter, just to welcome people into our buildings as guests and to sit with them and spend time with them. We know we can't solve the problem, but we can give people some time and a roof over their head. But some of the stories we're hearing just make you want to weep.
Do you agree, though, that that the City Council need to be more honest in the number of people who are sleeping rough on the streets in the city?
I don't think we can tackle the issues and these sorts of numbers unless we agree the size of the problem. And if we can agree this is the challenge, I think everybody's up for being part of the solution. If 250 volunteers from all walks of life are volunteering for 12 weeks over the winter, there's a lot of goodwill there and people wanting to make a difference. So we want to work with the City Council. We understand the constraints they're under, but we need to be talking about the same figures and addressing the real issue.
So is it very important then, do you think, to have a very open and honest conversation about what's being dealt with? Is that what's required here?
Absolutely. We would relish the opportunity to be able to sit down round the table and say what sort of solutions could there be here, and for civil society to step up and to play its part as well.
Salma, the City Council are about to begin a 5-year review into their homelessness strategy. What would be the sort of immediate thing they have to consider, in your opinion?
Oh gosh, there's lots of things, but I mean, I think first and foremost, it's about being honest about the scale of the problem. That's around the whole area of homelessness, about move-on accommodation. There isn't enough move-on accommodation in the city, more affordable housing in the city for the people who need it. But I think let's all work together. Let's get everyone around the table and say, look, who can deliver what in the city to end this problem? 36 at the end of the day is not a huge number. It's a very manageable number of rough sleepers. And I think if we all work together, we can come up with a very good solution.
Okay, Salma, thank you very much indeed. That's Salma Ravat from One Roof and Karen Rooms from Leicester Cathedral. Thank you both for coming in this morning.